for welcoming new listeners and audience members. But like, I like to just get back to the basics and explain to people what an oracle is. And the thing is, we've been doing this for so long that we can hash ideas that we were talking about.
Oracles are truth sayers based on the data, basically. That's how I interpret it as. It's like basically, give an oracle all the data and it will produce the correct outcome of it.
And
So
I
if
think
there are contradictory ideas, it will sort out which one's the real one and which one's the false one. Hence the name Oracle.
I think
Truth sayer, truth
what
truth
people
vision.
always end up having to rely on in the idea of DeFi, and I think that oracles are most powerful for DeFi, is the idea that you need to have someone that's going to give you the info, and you're going to do these contracts that are smart contracts on these
based on the
blockchains
data.
based on the data. But who's giving you the data? How can you trust it?
Who's
And then
executing it?
in the
Who do you
real
trust
world,
to execute?
in the real world, you ask data of fucking centralized governments or people that are in charge of the banks. They ask you, what are rates? It's also up to the Federal Reserve, unelected people. What I dream of is when DeFi really takes over, all of these things will not be handled by people who are biased and influenced by the governments or the currencies that they represent. What we need to understand is that all of these currencies, the euro, the dollar, the yuan, they are just backed by what? Trust in these governments that are managing these things through a centralized bank that actually is tied to the government in inextricable ways. China is explicit that their bank is also tied to the government. India, similarly. I was living through demonetization. In the U.S., we try to act like the Fed isn't tied to the government. The borrowing is tied to the military. All these are shit coins. Every coin, it's just up to if we decide whether or not we trust them. But then we make deals. We make loans. Hey, man, will you lend me? People don't understand that buying a house is basically a leveraged loan where will the bank give me 5, 10 times how much money I have on the promise that I earn money and I'll pay them every month to buy a house? This is a leveraged loan, but people do this with crypto or with anything where can I go to the bank and ask for a loan but they end up taking interest. This is how DeFi works. Who tells the people how much money you make, or how do you tell them how much you deserve? It's a credit rating by
the system, the AI,
system.
the data.
The data.
So that's why the data is self-executing, hence smart contracts. So, I mean, with the whole AI trend, you do see the DeFi ripple effects because people are seeing the need for DeFi.
Do you need bankers? They take out fees because they give you customer service
transactions.
Why don't we just do everything on crypto?
Exactly.
Why don't we do everything on crypto? Why don't we do it mathematically?
Eliminate the middleman
on the blockchain. I don't want a private company.
Yeah.
Wells Fargo, I bank with them. I'll talk shit to them to their face. Yeah. They take out too big of loans. They don't, interest. They don't give back money if you deposit on their checking account. If I do everything in crypto, I can do things immediately. Sometimes my transfers around the world for my employees take 5 days. It should, and then it's on a public blockchain where everybody can see instead of some opaque, obscure system.
You can audit it if you want.
It's ridiculous. I think we've gone through this, like the reason for DeFi, and we're still trying to work towards the idea of Chainlink. So Chainlink, the thing is, there is an unlimited number of people that are reporting on the exact same data. And then that's what you trust.
Access to the important data too. They're making partnerships with people to exchange data.
The alternative to Chainlink or an Oracle is relying on centralized governance. And the oracles and Chainlink, the technology is
Facebook ads.
Chainlink is chef's kiss. The way that they have so many nodes and they're attack proof. it would require, I believe, multiples or like
So
an exponential
it
factor of
dissuades
nodes
it
to try to.
dissuades and disincentivizes nodes to give out false information. So if you have all these nodes reporting the right information, that's how you gather, you know, one real truth. But if you have bad actors, but the system really disincentivizes bad actors.
So the cool thing about Chainlink that we need to explain is the idea that all of these decentralized exchanges that are giving, what people need to understand is that decentralized exchanges give better deals because rather than paying out money to all the middlemen, it's just a open source system that everybody can see. What are the rates? What are the loans at? When do I get liquidated? And then the counterparties are decentralized. So everyone is lending money to everyone. When I take out a loan for my credit card company, it's fucking 22%. When
Yeah,
we
the
start
APR is terrible.
when we start loaning to each other through decentralized finance, when I lend my money to the bank that holds my money, I get what, less than 1%.
Yeah. So in your savings account, you're getting less than 1%, and they're using your money. Like,
And then they're
for
making
me,
720 whatever.
I couldn't close my savings account instantaneously and say I want 15 or grand in cash, basically. They're not going to close that account and give you 15 grand. There's a limit to how much you can withdraw, and there's almost so much money in the bank at one time. So dealing with banks is such a hassle, especially with large purchases, probably over $10,000, I would say.
So they're talking about the CBDCs in England, and I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but they talk about the 15-minute cities. They're
Well,
going
they
to try to.
say the CBDCs, and then also you see, Visa, Mastercard testing credit card payments with crypto or crypto payments.
And I do these transfers internationally to pay my employees in India, and it takes 5 days, and I'm so upset that I can't just do crypto. But apparently, it's inefficient use of capital because they get taxed 30% on any crypto, even if I transfer them dollars crypto.
Well, that's just US. I mean, that's India
USDC
law.
and USDT
That's
is
India law,
exactly.
because
So
they're taxed on crypto.
this is exactly my point: is
But
that these
that's
governments are fighting this stuff.
Well, this is the good transition to our own battle in the US right now, where so a lot of this depends on regulation, right? So India, there's a 30% tax. US, there's no, I mean, it's treated as a stock. There's limited regulation, but people are pushing for more regulation, especially with the FTX, collapse. And so right now, CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, has, started, a chain of events, chain reaction of events.
He basically put the middle finger up.
Yeah, basically leaked confidential information, are basically information told in confidence not to leak, like, backroom deals. Basically saying that the US wants to consider staking illegal. And so, that just inhibits, the whole proof of stake, uh, philosophy of Ethereum. And then also staking that got, DeFi very popular in the first place. Stake high APYs on, lending coins, which we called staking, basically.